This week's episode of I Have Today is brought to you by the Spifter. The Spifter is a fun sifting spoon that makes cooking, baking, and decorating with sugars and spices so much fun. No more mess or wasting your spices. It's fast, clean, and easy. Everything looks and tastes delicious. It's also great for straining loose tea, getting pesky broken cork out of your wine glass, and draining liquid off food like olives and capers. Whether you're a novice cook or a gourmet chef, you'll love the results. The Spifter, the kitchen gadget that no kitchen should be without. Hi there, I'm Diane Forster, and welcome to I Have Today, the show that inspires, educates, and empowers you through life's transitions. And each week on this show, we talk about relevant topics to your life so that you could be living it intentionally with passion and purpose in every area of your life, every day of your life. That's the I Have Today way. And some weeks we have guests and some weeks it's just me in the studio. And today is a very important show and topic. So did you know that the statistics now are that 90% of people say they're unhappy? 90%. Are you one of the 90% of people that says that you're not happy? And what would it feel like to turn that around and actually feel happy? I mean, can you even imagine it? It is something that is so far out of your realm of realization because you've been so unhappy. So I have been doing work around intentional living and self-love, self-worth for several years now. And when I first started doing this work, the statistics were that 67% of people said that they were unhappy. Well, now it's up to a staggering 90%. And I wanted to talk about this today and make this a point of importance with you because it is also Suicide Prevention Week. And as someone who attempted suicide and has had that experience in my life, I know that there are, I think on average, the number is 8 million people who are suicidal right now in the United States, let alone around the world. So I wanted to talk about the topic of happiness and give you, dispel the number one myth and then give you 3 keys to start creating more happiness in your life today. So, but I want to invite you, please stay till the end because I have an amazing offer that's going to help and support you how to attract more happiness into your life starting right now. So if you don't know who I am an author and a speaker. I host this TV show and the podcast. If you're listening or watching on there, you probably know who I am. But if you're not and you're here for the first time, my story is that I went through my own breaking moment of really being unhappy and depressed and basically suicidal. I had no passion and purpose in my life, and it was a secret I kept hidden for over 2 decades. It was an unhappy marriage and relationship. I had a good career, but it was unfulfilling, and I wasn't really honoring myself, and I didn't really love myself, and I was living in a state of unhappiness. And through that suicide attempt and that moment of awakening, which was a pinnacle moment for me, it started the trajectory of me healing myself through personal development, self-help, spiritual awakening, dialing up all my intuitive gifts. And I learned keys to create positive, permanent change in my life. And now I work with others to do that for them as well. And they are experiencing major, massive life transformations. They go from being depressed, on medication, in unfulfilling jobs and relationships, unhealthy, to transforming every area of their life, and the transitions and the transformations happen lightning quick. Seriously, in 3 to 6 months, I can't even believe their lives. So why I wanted to talk about happiness today and really dispel this myth and give you these tools is because the number is now up to 90%, like I said. And when I read that, I was like, oh my God, we have got to do a show on this. And I wanted to focus it around Suicide Prevention Week. But this, if you're watching or listening to this, no matter when you are, this is relevant to you right now. This will still apply. Okay. So I like to use a lot of tools and resources to help me in my journey of self-love, self-worth, and feeling happiness every single day. And one of the things I love to use is crystals. I became a fan of crystals a while back, and there's so much power and energy in them, and they have such healing benefits. So I wanted to feature one today. This is the rose quartz crystal. And so these are available everywhere. You can get them everywhere. But we had given these out at our last event. And I like to give out crystals a lot. And so at the Heal Your Spirit, Mind, and Body, every attendee got one of these crystals in a beautiful bag and with this card. And I wanted to read this to you. So if you don't have rose quartz crystal, you can get them anywhere. Truly. Just go online, Google it, and get them anywhere. There's amazing sites out there. So the message of the rose quartz is to love yourself and others unconditionally. It asks you to go within your heart to the space that knows love is the answer to all the questions in life. The power of love is limitless and everlasting. When you shift your mindset and see all your problems from a place of love, it softens your heart, leading your mind into the same heart space of love. That's all that matters in this world and in this life is love. So to get to that place of love. So this is going to help and support you there. So this is a rose quartz. So I'm just going to leave this right here, okay, for you guys to see. All right. So now what I want to do with you is I want to share a little bit more about my story of how unhappy I was and how I transitioned it. And then I'll just give you the myth, the number one myth that we need to dispel, and then the 3 keys to help you start attracting more happiness in your life. And so for me, number one was the marriage that I was in to, a very nice man, a good man, wonderful provider in many ways. We just did not click, and it was very toxic, this relationship, and I kept struggling in this marriage. Like I said, I was with him for 24 years, and 20 of those years I was married to him. And I stayed in that marriage, was in and out of therapy with him, without him, and struggled. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And what was starting to happen to me was my health was declining. I started getting bouts of diverticulitis, and I was in and out of the hospital with at different times trying to treat that and heal that, to the point where I finally had to get part of my colon removed. And if you haven't read my book I have today, Find Your Passion, Purpose, and Smile, finally, I share candidly the story in there about it. And my mom died at age 53, and she died of colon cancer. And I was heading down this same path. And so I hit that breaking moment that day in the bathroom and had that God moment that woke me up, and I got my orders from God. You're not ending your life this way. You need to go get help so you can tell your story and help others. And I just threw up my hands and said, well, you need to show me the way, and trust me, the universe and God has been showing me the way ever since. And so that led me down this path and creating I have today to begin with. So that was one of the areas I was unhappy with. I was also unhappy with the fact that I was living in Chicago at the time. And after the divorce, my twins were still in high school, and I knew more than anything I needed to get out of that city. I needed to go to a place that had warm weather. California was calling me back. I had lived there for 10 years. My family was out there, and it was just calling me. And so I just knew I had to make a change in my life. And so California was calling me, and San Diego was calling me. I was so tuned into my intuition, and I would hear, well, I'm going to live in San Diego on a cliff overlooking the ocean so I can see the sunset every night. I didn't know where it came from. I just got that guided to me, but I kept saying it and affirming it out loud. And so I couldn't live in that city in the gray and the cold and the snow. I was just so unhappy there. And so the turning point for me then was just taking that leap of faith, trusting in the universe, and moving from Chicago to San Diego after I sold my house, sold all my belongings, quit my corporate job, and decided to completely reinvent my life. And moving again in that place of fear, fear, doubt, and the unknown, but the trust that I'm going to be okay. If I don't do this now, when will I do this? So, and ever since I moved here, it's been extraordinary, amazing. The stuff that has happened to me is unbelievable. And it was pursuing my happiness that did it. And so along the journey, I have learned many things. And so what I want to share with you right now is the myth that you need to dispel about this. Here's the myth. You believe that your circumstances need to change in order for you to be happy. And I'm telling you right now, as Wayne Dyer used to say, you must believe it to see it. It's not you must see it to believe it. You must believe it to see it. You have to feel it, visualize it, speak about it, and set the intention to be happy, to choose happiness first. The conditions don't have to change. It's an inside job. This is where it comes from. It comes from you. And you have moment by moment by moment opportunities each day to do this, to choose happiness. When you choose the happiness first, you create awareness about it and you start to move in that direction. Then the circumstances change. The outside circumstances change. So like I just shared with my story, when I had that breaking moment, I made a decision to change my life and get out of that marriage, and then things changed. When I decided to pick up and just reinvent my life and move to a new city, then things started to change. So the circumstances in your life do not change first. You've got to change first. From wherever you are, create that level of awareness from gratitude and appreciation, and decide and choose that your happiness comes above all else, okay? That's the myth. So how do you get there? What are the keys to do that? Key number 1 is this. You need to get specific. Specific about what you want in your life. Specific about what happiness looks like you. Like I said at the beginning, do you even know can you even imagine what that feels like? Have you been unhappy for so long that you can't even imagine it? Well, no one can imagine it for you. You've got to do it. You've got to get specific about what the definition of happiness is for you. It's so important. It's the first critical step in anything, because the universe does not understand ambiguity. You've got to get specific. You've got to give your specific orders to the universe about what your happiness looks like and feels like for you. So that's key number 1. Key number 2 is you need to give yourself permission to be happy. Can you imagine that? Do you even realize that you're the only one who's stopping you from being happy? And where are you blocking yourself by not granting yourself that permission to do so? It's something that I'm so amazed by when I'm working with clients, and I will talk to them and we follow these processes and I ask them all these questions. They don't think they're allowed to want the things that they want. First of all, they're confused about what it is they want. They don't even know. And then they don't even realize that they're allowed to want the things that they want. Is that you? Do you feel that way about yourself? So key number 2 is you got to grant yourself the permission to be happy. And key number 3 is you have got to remove certain things out of your life. So we tend to think we need to add things in our lives. These things are going to make us happy. When we have that car, that man, or that money, or that home, or the relationships, or the friendships, or the body, or whatever, the travel. We tend to think adding those things is going to create the happiness. What the key is, first you have to remove certain things and eliminate certain things from your life in order to create the space to be happy. So those are the 3 things that you've got to do. You've got to get specific. You've got to give yourself permission to do so. And then you need to remove certain things from your life in order to be happy. All right. So what I shared with you today about this was 90% of the people are unhappy, and odds are that you're one of them. If you're here watching this or listening to it on the podcast, you're feeling feelings of unhappiness. So there's a reason you were attracted to this work today. And the myth is that you think the circumstances have to change first to create the happiness. And that's not the case. It is the other way around. It's a decision and it's a choice. And the keys to get there are, you got to get specific. You've got to give yourself permission. And then you've got to eliminate certain things out of your life to create the space to be happy. So, now what I shared with you in our short time together is I'm just scratching the surface of what you need to do in order to create a happiness life. So what I've done is I've taken all my years of experience and everything that I've learned along my own journey and path, and then working with all my clients, both privately and in groups, and in all the programs that I've created. And the key is I've created the specific questions you need to be asking yourself in this amazing transformational program. So I've done all the work for you in the happiness formula, and we break it down. So in 21 days or less, you're going to have all the answers to all the questions on what happiness is for you and how to get it. I swear to God, in just 3 short weeks or less. Isn't that amazing? So what I'm going to do is break it down for you, and you're going to have the clarity. You're going to know what happiness looks like for you in your love life, in your health, in your relationships, with your money mindset, in your career, in family relationships and dynamics. So you're going to have all the answers to what happiness looks like for you in this amazing formula that only takes 21 days or less. It's 3 modules, you guys. Simple, simple, simple. I believe in 3 steps. And for 3 reasons. They're easy to remember, they're easy to implement, and they're easy to build upon. So I'm big time into hacking, and I hack this all for you. So in 21 short days, you're going to have all the answers to what happiness is for you, and you're going to be moving in that direction and attracting it in every area of your life. It's so amazing, so awesome. So if you want to find out more information about it, click the link below. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description area, and if you're listening to this on the podcast, it'll also be in the description area. So go there to learn more about it, and do it today, because today is all you have. I have today, right? Our past is behind us. Our future is unknown. And the moment you decide to make a change and you take inspired action, the universe goes out of its way to meet you and far exceed your expectations. So that's it for this week's episode. I want to give a shout out to all the people out there who are suffering from feelings of depression and suicide. My heart goes out to you. This show is dedicated to you, your loved ones, for any of you who have experienced this in your life, through loved ones and others. My heart goes out to you as well. I am here and dedicated and devoted my life to helping and supporting people live inspired, empowered lives, living to their highest, greatest, fullest potential. It's my honor to be this role model and this person who's doing this work for you. So this is Diane Forster. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time on I Have Today. Take care. Bye-bye.